Madden 15 is right around the corner. E3 just finished up. We got a ton of gameplay footage now, a ton of details about the game. Everyone's given their opinion. We've seen a lot. I have to tell you, I'm extremely excited for Madden 15. I did predict that this game was going to be touted as defense in a big, big way. I really hope it lives up to that. Ever since the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl, I knew that, EA loves trends. They're definitely going to go in the direction of defense. So I hope everything works out. I'm extremely excited. So far, I like almost everything that I've seen. But there's some things, though, that I've seen so far that I don't like. For instance, defensive backs standing around when they easily could have reacted to the ball. Doesn't make much sense to me. But we also don't know what skill level these people that are in these videos are playing on. They could be playing on pro. They could be playing on rookie. We really don't know. You really need to get your hands on the game and try for yourself. But for now, we're just going to make judgment based on what we see. Plus, we also have to consider that this is an alpha build, right? It's not in beta. It's not a demo. It's not the retail game. They still have time for improvement. So there's a couple factors there. As you can see, the new kick meter is something that people have been talking about quite a bit. But I'm not going to talk about that today because that, to me, is just a small aspect of what makes a game good. But before I get started, I just want to be clear on something. I've been playing Madden for 26 years, right from the beginning, and I love it every single year. And I'm going to play Madden regardless of any change made to the game. Sometimes I go on a site like Operation Sports, and literally all I see is, I'm going to pass again this year. Going to pass again this year. Operation Sports is huge when it comes to Madden. A lot of sim players, they want to see this, they want to see that. But all I see are people that are saying that they're not buying the game again. And like they haven't for years. So, kind of boggles my mind. I'm always going to play the game regardless. Now, with that said, I never used to complain about the game, ever. But now, since I surround myself with people who complain, i.e. social media, I will admit I have felt myself slipping into that side of things, even though I don't really want to. I just want to like Madden for Madden, even if defense sucks, or even if this or that is bad. But, now being on YouTube and putting myself in a situation where I do talk about the game with the community, I look at things a little bit differently, and I break down the game, the good and the bad of the game, which leads to honesty and reality about the game. Now, in my personal life, I am very blunt and very honest with my friends. I have a very joking personality. We call each other names. It's just, everyone's kind of different in their personal life. So, while I'd love to come across as a guy like S. Gibbs or Z. Farles who have a great attitude about it all when they're talking about the game, when they're in the spotlight of the game, I do tend to get a little more rough about things. So, I'm going to apologize in advance if I happen to say things that offend anyone, or if you just think I'm going about things the wrong way. I'm just giving my opinion, right? So just consider that from here on out. Just excuse me. Okay, so the whole reason I started doing tips was because I wanted to help lesser players become better. I do as much as I can to make tips that literally any type of player can watch my video, hit the field, and have success. Plays that are simple to learn, but very effective. And, the reason I started showing gameplay footage was because I wanted those same players to see exactly how it's done. To take the time to be able to give you as much explanation about each play as possible, so that when you try to use it, you're not scratching your head, wondering if you're doing right. Oh, did he do this or that? Because sometimes you see tips or not putting anyone else down, definitely not doing that. Everyone's got their own style, but sometimes you see tips where, it's maybe a minute and a half long. Oh, this is the first read, this is the second read, this is the third, and they don't really explain, right? So then some maybe lesser players that learn differently, it's kind of just like school, right? Everyone learns differently. They don't really understand, and they're not going to have the same success. So, my personality, however, like I said, when I play with friends, is completely different. We refer to players that are not good as bums. So please, when I use that word in this video, and I will, don't take offense to it. I'm still going to do whatever I can to help lesser players, or bums, as I sometimes call them, get better. So I hope we're cool. But now we're going to go on to some of the new additions for Madden 15. Just a select few that I feel like, I feel like there's so many changes to the game, as I said, and I don't even have the game yet. We could go on for days about this game. So the first thing we're going to cover is the new hot route system. So the way this works is you can only make one hot route on offense before you get to the line. Once you get to the line, you can then make another hot route. But after that hot route, it's going to take about 1.5 to 2 seconds before you can make another hot route. Basically, the quarterback is going to start making hand movements. So you make one hot route up to the line, then once you get to the line, you make another one, and the quarterback is going to kind of move his hands a la Peyton Manning, and then it's going to take about 1.5 to 2 seconds, and then that's when you can go ahead and make your next hot route. Obviously, not many people like change, let's be honest, right? And for the higher skilled guys, we all get used to playing a certain way. You know, the quickness on the sticks to come out into play, hurry to the line, and make 5 quick hot routes so fast, and then quick snap is great. It basically shows, you know, a little bit of a decent amount of stick skill just to do that one thing. The problem is, it truly is unrealistic, and honestly could potentially be one of the main reasons that we as Madden players feel that defense sucks, because people can just quick snap so fast, especially with the hurry to the line glitch by flipping your play or resetting your play once you break the huddle. So, you know, allowing the defense to be able to make more adjustments, move a player here and there, have time to process about what's to come offensively, could potentially really help the D overall. Now that said, it is going to take away from guys who have that tremendous amount of stick skill that can make a ton of adjustments to prepare for the snap of the ball. But even still, overall, it can only mean better things for the defense. And at this point, after the last 4 to 5 years of awful defense, let's be real, awful defense, it's definitely needed. So the next thing we're going to go to is shading, which I've heard is overpowered, and we're going to talk about how it works. So CB shading has 4 options: inside, outside, slants, and underneath, which is great, especially since I do hear it's highly overpowered. Shutting down slants or out routes, if you shade properly, comes with ease. Unfortunately, again though, for the type of player that relies on his quickness on the sticks over multiple phases of the game, is going to take yet another hit. They basically changed the way that you shade. So previously you had to do about 5 or 6 button combinations, which to most was confusing and too hard to pull off. Now all you need to do is press coverage audible and right stick in whichever direction you want to shade. So, you know, you press the coverage audible button, then you hit left to shade left. Coverage audible button, right to shade right. It is that simple now. So that's really going to help out a lot of those players, and it's going to kind of, dumb it down, and it's going to kind of take away again from another phase of those 6 skill guys that rely on that. But now that I think of it, you know, just as I say that, it makes me kind of wonder, because it's now done as a global shade. So if I have an out route on one side, the guy can shade outside and stop it cold. But if I have a slant on the opposite side, now that slant becomes money, because apparently, again, from what I've heard, if you guess wrong with the shading, you're screwed. So I may be right on the out route, but wrong on the slant, leaving them wide open on the opposite side, or even in the slot right next to the out route. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to find out if there's still a way to individually shade. So the next thing we're going to talk about is jump the snap and defensive line play in general, which has been a huge overhaul. So many different things now you can do with the defensive line. So what's the one thing that separates good players who win a lot from not so good players who barely ever win? The answer to that question is stick skill. But EA, for the first time ever, has realized what the real reason is. That so-called bums are not able to compete with guys who play at a high level. They tried to overpower the run in Madden 25, and it worked to some degree, but realized it wasn't going to be the proper way to go about giving bums a chance. I mean, again, using that word bum, but any bum can run with that lame wide receiver blocking and just move the stick right or left and just run and win. But it led to a lot of people really hating the game. And for years, these kinds of players have been sitting on the defensive line because they're afraid to be a liability in coverage. You know, the problem was you can't do shit on the defensive line. It didn't work. There was no moves you could really do. Once in a while you get lucky and pressure the quarterback, but mostly you'd get locked into an animation and just do nothing. This year, though, on the other hand, defensive line play has a ton, and I do mean a ton, of additional things that you can do. So much so that it's going to be overpowered. Overpowered like the run was in Madden 25. And no matter what way you want to look at it, if your goal is to win games, if you're someone that has never used a defensive lineman in the past ever, like myself, if it's as overpowered as it seems like it's going to be, you're going to have to start using it. It'd be like saying, I'm never running buck sweep or strong power in Madden 25. You'd be foolish not to. That is, if you want to win games. Now, there is some good news, though, for the type of player who believes they're taking all of the real skill out of the game and allowing any average Joe to have a chance at winning games. So even though I said that the one thing separating good players from bad was stick skill, that's actually tied with the ability to make reads as being the biggest difference. And with Madden 25 behind us, the year of the extremely overpowered run, the year that any player had a chance to win, because literally, to run the ball effectively in Madden 25, it only took 3 steps. First one, knowing what the good runs were, which were easily found on YouTube. Number 2, what button is it to snap the ball? Well, that's an easy one. And the third is, move your analog stick left or right. And then up after your 5'8" wide receiver makes a pancake block on your way to the end zone. 3 of the most simple things you can do. Can you snap the ball? Can you look up a play on YouTube? Can you move an analog stick to the right or the left? That's literally how easy it was to run the ball effectively in Madden 25. So, let's see here. Basically, if you couple that with the fact that those same players could throw into coverage all day long in the passing game, getting bailed out by drop pick after drop pick, only to run the ball again on 3rd or 4th down and have success without any thought, any skill, any effort, well, the run in Madden 15 truly is toned down like the people who have played the game have been telling us. So even if dropped interceptions still happen at a high rate, they can no longer rely on that run game to bail them out after failing time and time again to make reads. So for those of you that are worried that they're dumbing the game down, as long as making reads is the most important aspect of Madden, the better players are almost always going to prevail. So just keep that in mind if you're worried about that aspect. Okay, sorry, a little bit sick here actually today as I'm doing this video, so bear with me. So the next thing we're going to look at is fake blitzes as a hot route. So fake blitzing is now a hot route on defense. It's not something that's built into the play, though I do actually see them adding that in the future. But you can hot route your guy to fake like he's blitzing. He's going to take 2 steps forward and then drop back into his original assignment before you choose to fake blitz him. So basically, if he's in a purple before you make that fake blitz hot route, he's going to take 2 steps forward and then drop back into his purple. So I think that's something that could be very interesting. No matter what, I don't even care. Like in Madden 25, it was all about cheating, like wide receiver blocking, things like that. Cheating to basically do what you need to do to make the offense better. I don't care how much cheating happens on defense. I find that no matter what, defense always makes a better Madden game. To me, my 2 favorite Maddens, Madden 05 and Madden 10. 2 games with good defense, the only 2 games with a defensive player on the cover, and now, of course, we've got our 3rd game with a defensive player on the cover. Obviously, I want the game to be as realistic as possible, but if they've shown year after year that there's some levels of cheating with some of the suction tackling, with some of this, some of that, the run game, the wide receiver block, like every year there's kind of something. I would much rather cheating happen on defense than on offense. So if it means that fake blitzing is going to have to be something that now adds blitzing as a crazy thing in the game, where we're getting a lot of pressure, only sending a few guys because of fake blitzing, I'll take it every day, no problem. The next thing is the tackle cone. Now, a lot of people have been talking about this, and there's been some uproar, but the tackle cone can be toggled on or off. It's been clarified. Obviously, a lot of you that are listening to this You're not like me. You're not looking for information on the game 24/7. You know what I mean? You're just kind of relaxing. You're doing your thing with your wife, your girlfriend. You're at school, whatever the case may be. You're not digging in for details. Well, it can be turned off, and by default in ranked games and on all Madden, the cone is off. So, you know, the best thing they can do when it comes to a Madden game is give you options. So if you don't like the tackle cone, who cares? Don't worry about it, man. Don't complain about it. Don't be like, oh, they're really dumbing the game down and this and that and whatever, which I've said, don't get me wrong. But don't worry about it. You can turn it off. It's no big deal. You're never going to see it if you don't want to, right? So sometimes you just have to kind of use common sense and go, okay, so whatever. If other people want to use it, fine. But if I don't want to see it, if I don't want to use it, I turn it off. No big deal. Don't even worry about it. The next thing we're going to talk about is concept play calling. I really like this one because I do feel it's an advantage for both types of players. So basically, a new option at the play call screen is something called concepts, which are like smash concepts, etc. So if you know that your opponent is in a cover 2, and you know a lot of you know that smash concept beats cover 2, you can go and get all the plays that are smash concepts within your playbook. So you can run it out of various formations just like teams do in real life. You know, as Peyton Manning said a couple years ago, they were running 2 or 3 of the same plays, identical, just different formations, just to give the defense different looks. So you can run the same type of concept or the same 2 or 3 concepts out of a variety of formations. If you're not really understanding of, you know, how to set up a certain concept, or okay, well the smash concept out of this formation might not look the same out of this, but now you can just go to that one area and understand, okay, so I know that smash beats a cover 2. So I'm going to go and I'm going to check and I'm going to use all these different formations, and my opponent's not really going to think that I'm running the same style of play out of the different formations, and you can take advantage of it. So basically, once you choose a concept, you then get a variety of concept options like slant, stick, Ohio, Omaha. But furthermore, you can then scroll left or right to get other types of concepts, such as the quick pass concept. Then if you scroll to the next type is medium pass, which now has a whole new set of concepts like curl, choice, double moves, levels, all different types of things. So I really like that. It basically does 2 things. It gives someone who really knows football a chance to capitalize where maybe he otherwise would not be able to do. You know, as long as he had a good idea what his opponent was going to call on defense, basically he's like, okay, well, I know that this concept beats that type of coverage, or this concept does good against that type of coverage, and it basically gives them a chance to have success. It also gives the higher level players who do know football but are used to playing a completely different way when it comes to Madden, a chance to be like, okay, well, I'm struggling using my normal style, and I know that this prick is killing me with a cover 4. So now, just because I really can't get anything going, I'm going to kind of change it up. So now let me go to a concept that I know beats cover 4, and now it's going to benefit both types of players, right? That player can go from being shut down to now just using regular football knowledge and benefit from it. So that's pretty much it for the main features that I want to talk about today. There's still a lot more covered. If you haven't seen, I actually already put a tip out for Madden 15. I haven't even touched the game. I've seen, but they added a new thing in the game called the matchup stick. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this video, and you can check that out. It does work the exact same way. It explains exactly how the matchup stick works. So definitely check that out. But before I let you go, just going to mention a couple miscellaneous things that I found out about the game. 1, wide receiver pancakes are not at all like Madden 25. The run game is way toned down. There's still no custom audibles for team playbooks. If you want to use custom audibles, you have to make a custom playbook. Pursuit angles are a lot better, but there's still room to improve them. Linebackers do still move back into their original position. So if you move a linebacker a little bit, like 5 yards to the left, but he's still inside the tackle box, he's going to move right back to where he was. Still no defensive assignments. So basically, if you want to put Richard Sherman on Calvin Johnson like you used to be in the old days, not something that you're going to be able to do. So just a couple miscellaneous things. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're as excited for Madden 15 as I am. I do think it's going to be a great game. I will say, I'm going to leave with this comment, and I've said it on Twitter before, that I do believe that if we end up getting our hands on this game, and after all the talk about defense, and after all the additions that they made to defense, if EA can't get it right this time, then all hope is lost for them. I'm still going to love the game, still going to play it, but I believe for all of you guys out there that are like kind of like, oh man, EA, get your head out of your ass, or all this kind of stuff, if they can't get it right defensively this time on next gen, second year, next gen defense, they said defense, all leading up. If they can't get it right, all hope is lost. That's pretty much the only way that I can explain it. Anyway, like I said, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming for Madden 15. I'm going to be hitting this game hard. I absolutely love all the new features. It keeps things interesting. There's going to be a ton to learn at the beginning of the game. Whether the game is garbage, even if it's garbage, doesn't matter. It's going to be a lot of fun learning everything about the game. I'm going to love it. Try to love it as much as you can. Because who cares, man? Who cares? It's a football game. Have fun. Yeah, I complain too sometimes now, like I said. But at the end of the day, it's about having fun. That's it. I'll see you guys next time.